Man Talk Monday. It's Man Talk Monday. Woo! Let's get to the topic of the discussion and hit the issues you typically find reluctant. Remove the facade to fill the gap with some substance. We undermining problems, expecting to overcome it. Please hold the applause. We doing it for the cause. People follow culture before they follow the laws. We rather face the friction and not attempt it at all. Persistence will find solutions once our contentment dissolves. There's a hard pill to swallow for anyone breathing, both for folks who stay woke and those who be dreaming. We ain't slaves, yet we still ain't experienced freedom. What we need is the keys to access the kingdom. We're all in this fallen world trying to stay intact. I'm just a beggar, point you out to where the bread is at. So follow the breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel. And thank Yogi Bear and the thought engineer for that on Man Talk Monday. It's Man Talk Monday. Woo!
Hey, what's going on, good people? How y'all doing tonight? Man Talk Monday back once again, ladies and gentlemen. I am Derek, the thought engineer, here with my man, comedian John Yogi. How you doing, bro?
What it do, sir? You know, I'm listening to the music. Is there any way we can have the music to fade rather than just stop? Because I was getting my boogie. I was about to get my boogie on, and it just kind of had stopped. No,
I'll work on that. So you can wind your groove down.
I'm just saying, man. You can't when you get older. You can't just stop abruptly. It kind of mess up something.
And little brakes ain't working like it used to.
Hey, once the train coming down the track, brother, it's coming.
That's it. It's done. It's over.
Hey, brother, for real, man. Hey, man, I'm good, man. How you doing, man? How you good?
I'm good, man. I am good. No complaints. I can't complain at all, man. God is good. He's good. He's good. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
How y'all doing out there? Y'all let us know how y'all doing. Thank y'all for joining us tonight for another episode of Man Talk Mondays. So let everybody know this is Man Talk Mondays. It's an open forum where we talk about everything from religion to politics to relationships. But of course, we're doing it from a man's perspective. Now, keep in mind, this is not just for men. We want everybody to join into the conversation. Men, women, boys, and girls, everybody's welcome. Now, how do you talk to us? Simply go into the comments, drop your comment, drop your question. We can see this, and this is how you talk to us, right? This is how you let us know what's on your mind, how you feel about what we're talking about. But you are part of the conversation, so by all means, holler at your boys. Let's go.
Get up in here, man. Get up in here.
Come on in the room. We just talking. That's all.
Hey, man, listen. We're trying to help somebody. So stop being ignorant and listen to what we're saying.
That's real. That's real. Don't forget, subscribe to our podcast. You can find us on Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, Spreaker, Bullhorn, all these different platforms. You can find us. And we got some good stuff out there, y'all.
Hulu, woo, Lulu. Just go up in there and look for us. We on now.
But probably the coolest thing is you can catch us on TV, on your TV, right? BS3 TV on Roku. That's BS3 space TV. I know somebody watching on Roku right now. We appreciate y'all for watching on Roku. Thank you. Appreciate the love. But make sure you go and check us out. You know, anytime you feel like, go listen to a podcast. Right? Be sure you do that. Now, what we're going to get into our segment that we call Man Talk About It. Man Talk About It. Now, Man Talk About It is where we go through some things that are happening in the world around us, around you as well. Just kind of talking about some goings on. Now, if you want us to talk about your situation, something you got going on, make sure send us an email, right? mantalkmondays1@gmail.com. Send the email. Let us know what's going on with you. We can talk about it. We will keep it anonymous.
You know, D, one of the things that people often do, people often will call and will want to have a sidebar or talk about on side. But what people don't realize is their situation can help other people. That's why it's important that you bring it to the show so we can share that, no names, but we can share your circumstance or situation to help other people. Because sometimes it's just not about you. Even though Cupid have his foot in your behind,
Right.
you want to prevent somebody else from having the same thing. I'm just saying.
Yeah, help somebody. That's all we're doing. We're just trying to help somebody.
Yeah.
Right. So, man, talk about it. We know over the pandemic, especially when everybody was doing the lockdown, the shutdown, they had these versus battles. And we've seen some great versus battles. There was Earth, Wind, and Fire versus the Isley Brothers. That was Monica versus Brandy. And I mean, the nostalgia and all this kind of stuff. Well, they don't always go so well. So this past week, last week, they got Bone Thugs and Harmony versus 3 6 Mafia. And before they can get going good, these brothers who are all upwards of 40 years old decide they want to get into a fight.
I heard they was fighting over who had the last hit. Cause brother, listen, you supposed to be an example to younger people now. What are we doing? What are we doing? We can't fight. And let me tell you something. Most of the time when stuff like verses come where they have you going to get somebody, all the good people really be gone. So you just really good to be in there. Y'all really get scraps, to be honest. You just really good to be in there. And you have the audacity to want to throw them hands? Come on, man. You ain't got hands no more. You ain't got hands no more. You got pills. Arthritis pills. Blood pressure pills.
Right. Arthritis pills. All that type of stuff.
Dude, I'm just saying you got gout pills. When you get bored, you got pills in your life, man. You can't throw no hands if you throwing pills, man.
Hey, that's real, man. That's real. Problem is, so Busy Bone, one of the Bone Thugs and Harmony, I don't know if somebody laughed at him or mistakenly teased him. I don't know if he got something going on with him, but he stood up and made this announcement that I ain't gonna stand by and let y'all talk about me and make a fool out of me and all this kind of stuff. And then he throws something at somebody and all of a sudden the fight breaks out. I think they went on to finish the versus battle, but that's the fact that y'all old rusty dudes sit up here trying to fight.
He said, "Oh, you somebody grandpappy." So first of all, we're allowing you to be 40 and rap anyway.
Right.
I'm just gonna say that. I'm gonna slide that out there. So the least you could do is act like a grown man when you're doing it, and I'd act like none of these kids out here, man. Come on, dude. You owe more of that to yourself, man. Come on.
Like, do you outgrow the life? You know what I'm saying? You've been rapping about being hard gangster stuff, and now you think you should be able to just move past that.
First of all, we already know you ain't hard because you ain't saying with your chest, number one. We know you ain't hard. You too old to be hard. You can't be old and hard. Now you just old school. You old school. Right. Be old school and sit your old self down somewhere. And I'm going to tell you like I normally tell them, y'all need to take a couple of seats and sit your old behinds down somewhere.
Right. Right. One to sit down in, the other one to lay your head over in because you're too tired. You're just tired. You're just tired.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm tired. I'm tired of all the school shootings. I am sick and tired of it, man. And obviously, the government is getting a little tired too. So, school shooting that happened in Michigan with a young man think he killed 4 people and injured some more people. His parents have been arrested. His parents have been arrested now.
You know, man, you can't take a whooping like you used to take. When we was in school, 9th period was bullying. You had a class for just to get bullied and beat up. How is it that don't nobody want to take no whoopings no more, D?
Man, I don't know. But they got too much at their disposal, man. How this dude, number one, this is why his parents got arrested. They bought him the gun.
And say you go up there and you shoot them.
Right.
What are we doing? What? Now I'm gonna go up there to make sure we do something about this. But you go up there and you shoot folk. They need to put them under the jailhouse.
After he had already kind of made threats, I think he had some drawings and stuff of him killing people and laughing and all this type of stuff. And then you decide that he needs a gun.
You know, why is it that all of the people that shoot you have drawings? What is that about? Is that a prerequisite for I'm a mass murderer? Is you got to be drawing? What is that about?
Premeditation.
That's your cry for help because you just happen to leave your art book on the kitchen table next to the Frosted Flakes.
Yeah.
Somebody's supposed to see that and go in there and say, baby, do we need to get you some help? What's going on? Not, let me take you down to Walmart, get you one of them of 45s.
Right. I think he had a rifle. Like,
they don't do is that old school 45? They don't do 45s no more. They do rifles. They do everything. Got to be a rifle.
Yeah, it was a handgun. It was a handgun. But I don't know, man. So is this setting a precedent now where parents can be held liable for what their kids do?
Well, if you got trailer park parents, it's not really setting a precedent. Because trailer park parents don't really have the money to change to get good lawyers. Because it's about have and have nots, and if you have not, you liable to get arrested. Because the boy Carl Rittenhouse, whatever his name was, he had over $200,000 donated to him, so he's gonna get a good lawyer.
You think this guy gonna get the donations?
Oh no, these people didn't get it. No, Trailer Park, you didn't get it. Trailer Park, you didn't get it. No, they didn't get that. They didn't get that. And the crazy thing about it, D, because it sets precedents. Now, so if you're trying to get people off, which court case you gonna use? We can't have both of them. It has to go one way or another way. It's really crazy that it went 2 different ways. You know, because that's what 10 years from now, some lawyer's gonna be trying to make a case, and he's gonna have to pick one of those which he's gonna use.
I don't know, man. Something happened where say somebody was like, I'm just mad you got caught or something like that. He was Googling something about firearms or something, but so now people are starting to call. Ron said finally they're coming for the parents. Is that really gonna stop it though?
Yes. Yes, because if I can go to jail for your foolishness, see, it's one thing to let you outside and act a fool, and it don't reflect on me like I think. But if you go shoot up the school and they come to my house and arrest me, I'm be like, whoa, how you doing today? We ain't shooting nobody, are we? Are we good? Because I don't want to go to jail. I got vacation. I got 2 weeks vacation coming up. I ain't trying to be in jail on my vacation. Please, can we at least talk about what's going on? Because you know what, D? In all seriousness, the parents know what's going on with the kids. We can ignore it. You know when your child is going into the sunken place. You know when he's in the sunken place, and you know something going on with it. But the problem is now the kids most of the time are in a depressed state because these little rascals can't handle nothing no more. Dude, I'm telling you, every third period we got beat up. Every third period we got beat up, and it was a given. It was a given that we was gonna get beat up until we start fighting back. It was a given. John, you walk this, don't you change your routes from home because I'm gonna be waiting for you. When you get to this street, I'm gonna beat you up. And it wasn't until I started fighting back that it stopped.
And what's this that you take it out on everybody? Not the person that bully. You just go, it's just random to start firing on everybody. What is this? I don't get that. But now they're saying, people are saying, okay, are we gonna hold Kyle Rittenhouse's mother liable for him?
Well, they should hold her liable just because the way she looked. She was tore up. If you tore up, they should say, you know what? Go to jail. You go to jail. Go to jail. Go to jail. Now go on now. Go on. Go to jail. And think about this, D. Dude, I wouldn't. Isn't it? If your kid needs help, don't we need to get them some help? If the coping skills on what they need to be, don't we need to get them some help, D?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And the parents are the ones who, like you said, they see things. But if you see something and don't say nothing, then
you just as guilty. You just as guilty as the guy bullying them. You might as well take them in the back and work them over, because you just as guilty.
And how about how they? Did you see the picture that they put up of him?
Of him praying
with the little prayer hands.
Boy,
and he looking so innocent. He like he about 8 years old. Now this boy was 16 years old.
When I seen it, I rolled my eyes, D. Y'all ain't even do that. Y'all not going to do that, because that's the narrative y'all trying to create, and that's not the one we going for. We want the gun. We want the one we hear in the school shooting. We want that one.
Yeah. Because when they actually showed the picture of him, I think after he got arrested, nothing like that picture. He looked like the kid that would do something like that. Not this innocent little boy with his hands together, like in the prayer hands, looking all innocent and sweet.
But then let me ask you a question. Just us, me and you talking.
Yeah.
What's warranted? Is that warranted? Is that warranted, being bullied, to go up there? Does he have not does he have the right, but do we give him a pass because he goes up there and shoot people? Do we say, oh well, he was bullied, he deserved, he should be able to get away with that? What how do we judge that? What do we do with that?
They've tried to handle bullying, and it just hasn't worked the way they wanted it to. So Ron says, I will do time for my kids for something that's not their fault, but I'm not doing time for them doing something stupid.
Yeah.
And I think it's a double-edged sword. Abigail says so wrong. I think it's a double-edged sword because now you give kids ammunition to get their parents in trouble.
Yeah, but perhaps the parents should be, and I get it. I got two boys at home, and I can run over them both with my cars. But I get that. I get it. But man, at some point, don't we have to do a better job? Don't we have to get more invested in our kids and what they're doing? I was talking to my boys last night. I said, listen, I'm here. When you going through stuff, you need to be talking to me, because they don't never talk to us. For some reason, they think them fools out there, their age, know more than what we know. But as parents, though, we have resources and things that we have to get through to people. Am I on the tangent? Do I need to stop? Do I need to get off do I need to step off the soapbox?
No,
I really, man, because I'm like, dude, we got to do better as parents. We can't let the kids dictate how we parent. We the parents. This is what we not gonna do. Maybe I'm wrong, man. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I think it's time I think parents will probably start paying more attention now. If they know they can be liable for something their kids do, they'll start paying more attention to what the kids got going on, which is what they need to do.
Listen, we got too many. We got Dr. Smith, trauma queen out here, we need more people like that out here to help these kids. Let me tell you something. And I'm gonna apologize. I have these people at my disposal, and my kids are lost they freaking mind. So what I do, I call Dr. Smith and say, we need to make some appointments, because these fools up in here is cheese ripping. They not just tripping, they T-ripping. They T-ripping. You got resources and everything around you. We need to start using the resources that we have. And sometimes, and I'm gonna say this to y'all. I'm gonna look at y'all and say this because y'all family. I was embarrassed to say something to somebody about what was going on in my house because it reflected me. I was embarrassed because we want people to think that we got it all together because you got nice cars, nice houses, and the inside of the house is tore up. You ain't getting no peace because your kids acting a fool or they in their room with my son came out the other day, he had a hoodie on, he looked like a mass murderer. I said, boy, if you don't get back in there and get the mass murderer clothes off, like they sell mass murderer clothes at the store, get them off, boy, and look like you got some sense because that reflects me. Most parents don't get involved because they're embarrassed. That we embarrassed that our kids, we letting our kids get away with this foolishness, so we don't do nothing.
Abigail said parents are so scared of their kids nowadays. Too, it's stupid. But I think what happens is they were letting them get away with things at an early age, and now they have no control once they get older. So you keep petting that monster, and the monster gonna eventually bite you. But I think you just said something that's real key. Some point you gotta deal with the uncomfortableness of the embarrassment that you may feel. It's gotta take a back seat to actually getting the kid help like they need.
Because at the end of the day, that's all we really want is what's best for the kid. We old and we old, cranky and wrinkle, and we worried about how it looks to us. It don't really matter. You do whatever you got to do to get that child some help because he got his whole life ahead of him. You got about 15 to 20 minutes left. Good 15, 20 minutes.
Just a few summers, huh?
I'm just saying, man, dude, you 2 or 3 summers and you out here. You know what I'm saying? Real talk, man. Real talk.
Well, I'll tell you one person who is making sure that at least young men have the information they need. Is Deion Sanders, Coach Sanders of Jackson State University. He actually brought in IG model Brittany Renner to talk to his football team about the traps and the dangers that await them. He brought her in to talk about it. And
go ahead, Dick. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was flipping through Facebook and I get to the HBCU page, and there were people upset about it. They were upset that he brought her in to have this talk with his players.
You know, my first thought, man, was if that was a women's team and they brought a player of a guy in there and say, hey, ladies, this is a trap that men do. This is what we say. For example, Steve Harvey's book. I didn't hear one woman or no group say, "Oh, that's a travesty. He tripping. Why in the world did he do that?" I didn't hear that now time. But the minute that a man brings a IG model in here and to educate the kids, we can find something wrong with that. I don't get it. I don't get it because, hey, if the truth be told, most of us when we was young was hoes anyway. And we just don't want nobody. We don't want nobody to know, so we try to keep that on the low. So we try to protect our kids from what we were when we were younger, and that is baloney.
Typically, between the years of 18, I used to say 25, but it's typically about 30. This is where young adults make the biggest bulk of their mistakes, and those mistakes that they make during that time could have life-defining effects, because you at a point where you think you know everything, you out there, nobody's there to really tell you what to do because you kind of grown or whatever, and so you just doing something, doing whatever, and not understanding there is consequences that come behind this.
We listening to our hormones, we listen to our hormones. For example, when he brought that girl in there, they didn't have to know who she was. She had on short shorts and she had chest and her butt was sticking out. And them kids went crazy because that's what we do.
Because she didn't have on a business suit when she came in.
No business. Well, she did. She had on her business suit.
Her business suit. I tell you, business suit.
Yes.
So just let everybody. So Coach Sanders brings her in. He has his football team in this room, brings her in, and she's wearing like regular hangout clothes. When I say hangout, I mean
Yes.
hang out. So was hanging out.
She put it on display. She wants you to see the goodies because they're on display.
Right. And she comes in and he starts talking to her like, let them know what the game is. And she started running down the game about the whole DMs and all this type of stuff.
Yeah, tell them who Brittany is first.
For those of you who don't know who Brittany Renner is, so Brittany Renner is an IG model. She's an IG model whose claim to fame, she blew up when she got young NBA guy PJ Washington. She got him. They had a baby together. When they had a baby, she pretty much ended the relationship, and now he's paying child support, a healthier portion of child support, and she's like, "That's the game. This is, checkmate."
I'm baffled that you can admit it now. We so social media driven that that's what I did. Boom, got that cash. And and the rest of y'all, I'm coming for you.
So she's not just a gold digger; she's a gold digger consultant. They have those now. That's a thing.
Are you serious?
Hey, you had Hitch. I don't know what you call her, but
there you go. There you go.
Mm-hmm. She's a consultant. And so Deion wanted to help his guys. Be aware of how things work so that they can move with a little more wisdom than other guys do.
See, because it's one thing for a guy, Deion was that dude. It's one thing for him to tell you, and you think he exaggerating. You don't think, no matter how his wives look, you think he exaggerating. You don't really believe it. But it takes somebody to come in there that's doing it right now. Deion is granddad. He old school. He okay, they ain't like that no more. But it takes somebody who just did it last week to come in and say, hey, y'all can think he playing. Y'all can think he lying if you want to. But this is what we doing. And the biggest problem with that, D? The biggest problem with that is not nobody in that room. It's the people that's not in that room trying to decide what's best for those kids, trying to decide what they need to be able to hear and what they don't need to hear. That man was a professional athlete. He knows exactly what they need to hear.
Not just a professional athlete, he was an elite athlete. This man put Atlanta back on the map.
Yeah.
By himself.
He was arguably one of the best cornerbacks to play the game.
Oh, yeah.
Arguably one of the best. Yeah.
He was showtime, prime time. You know what I'm saying? So
he brought
exactly what he's talking about.
And he brought prime time 2 in there to talk to them boys. She was good and red. She was good and red. And them boys went bananas. And my problem, D, is not with the kids. My problem is with the parents. Dude, we so worried that they're gonna find out the life we used to lead that we want to shelter our kids from that, bro. Listen, again, I say you was a hoe. It ain't that big of a deal. Most of us, let me tell you how I know most of us were hoes. Because when we get ready to do our hoeing, we always can find somebody. You don't never have to look long. You don't have to look long when you hoeing because somebody is always out there on Hoe Street with you all the time. Not sometimes, D. All the time.
All the time.
It's always somebody out there with you. It's always.
So this one guy was complaining about Deion bringing her in, and I simply said, I put back in the chat, I said, when you want to know how to stop a bank robber, you don't go to the cops and ask them. You go ask other bank robbers.
You go ask Bonnie and Clyde. What was y'all doing? Get
Right.
away with it. Yeah, exactly.
Even the FBI knows this. The FBI studies criminals in order to stop criminals. And Dion's like, I gotta bring somebody who is actually doing this to show y'all, to let y'all know how not to get caught.
But see, now as the parents, or as the, and I was sharing this with Dee the other day. You know, the worst thing I don't like about most people is most people forget who they were.
Oh wow.
Most people forget who they were. Most people forget the things that they went through, and they try to act like where they are now in the church, because most of us are too used up and too banged up, and people done ran through us, or we done ran through folk. We ain't no more earthly good, so now we hanging out at the church 24/7. And because we at the church, we want to judge and put people in that scope, especially the kids, like we've been saved all our lives. You ain't been saved but 2 Sundays, and you was absent on one of those Sundays. And now you want to act like that's been your life the whole time, and that's not fair to those kids.
Ron said he also need to bring in some former uncle and AAU coaches playing the same game as she did. Talking about exploiting them kids.
Oh,
yeah, they do a lot of exploiting of these kids.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My thing is this. You said something. You said they trying to hide, or they act like they forget. They don't forget. It's not that they forget. They trying to distract you from who they used to be. They remember. They absolutely remember. They don't want you to find out though. And that's the thing.
But don't you, by being honest, and that's the thing I love about the show, man. I can be as honest as I can.
Yeah.
By letting people know, by me being honest, telling people the heartaches and the pains that I've been through, I'm hoping to help somebody. But we so scared that people are gonna find out we ain't as good at 2 shoes as we think we are. That when we was in college, we had days we woke up and we blacked out and we didn't know what we had did. People too scared to talk about that kind of stuff. But let me let you know the secret. We don't really care. Folk don't really care what you've been through. We just want to know how you can help somebody else. That's it. That's it. Yeah. We don't care.
Yeah. Are you willing to expose your own story to help somebody else?
I ain't gonna be able to do it. I ain't gonna be able to do it. Because if I tell you what I did, hey, wait, get this. And now I ain't got no money for it. At least Kim Kardashian got money for it.
Oh, no.
And I'm broke. I ain't gonna tell you that. I ain't getting no. Hey, I did mine before video cameras was popular.
Boy, if they had cell phones back then, boy, we'd be into social media. Oh man,
I'm just saying.
So is this where we are now in society, to where you have to bring somebody in to help guys protect them from young women? So that's what we talk about tonight. Do men need protection from women?
We do. We need protection from women because we stupid.
That's one thing she said.
We stupid. All we see is booty and breast. Hey, what? I don't know nothing else. I don't know. I don't care how much money I'm worth. Because the funny thing about men with money, professional athletes, they want the dime pieces. Now they still want the same thing. They just want a high quality of woman. That's all we want is a high quality. I remember I was auditioning for this Jamie Foxx. He had this comedy thing that he was doing. I went auditioning, and the closer you got to Jamie Foxx, the better the women look. The closer you got to him, the more like Lisa Ray they look. And now if you looking like Lisa Ray, ain't too many people gonna tell you no.
He talking about Lisa Ray back in the day. That's what he talking
Lisa
about.
Ray, yeah, the one that was in Players Club. Matter of fact, we still waiting for Players Club 2.
My thing is this. The trick to life is getting through those knucklehead years with as little regret as possible.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's the trick. If you can get through those knucklehead years, like 18 to 25, 30, if you can get through those years with as little regret as possible, you winning. You are winning. Abigail agrees. She says, absolutely. The
Lord.
problem is being stupid and not understanding that you're stupid. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Being stupid and not knowing that you are.
But you know why we don't know we stupid, D? Because we think that's what we're supposed to do. We've been taught when we're younger that you're supposed to go out and conquer. You're supposed to go out and get it. That's what make you a man. You're supposed to go out and get as many women as you can. And then when you come away with baggage and kids, you know, because again, it's about the culture. What does the culture do? Because the athletic culture is these young black guys go out and get these light-skinned or white girls pregnant, and they got babies by them, and they paying them for the rest of their life. That's what at least 18 more years. But that's the culture. That's what the culture does. We need to change the culture.
And I remember my coach in high school. My coach in high school, he taught a history class. He took about 10, 15 minutes out of his history class to write on the board how child support can damage your paycheck.
Hey.
He had been married before, and so he had kids with his first wife, and he got remarried, and he had a whole nother family now. And I don't know, looking back on it, I'm guessing that he had got hit real bad. Yeah. And he was like, gentlemen, men, let me talk to you now. Mm-hmm. This is why you do not have kids outside of your wife. And he started writing up there how child support will take away all your money.
Because he don't just pay child support when you get remarried. Y'all pay child support.
Oh. That's real.
Y'all pay child support. On the income tax checks, y'all pay child support. Anything extra you get, y'all pay child support. And I'm gonna tell you, if you once you marry a guy that pays child support, that income tax check, if it's in both of y'all name, goes toward that child support.
We got Pastor Gloria, and she said, yes, yes, yes. She agrees. So Daryl says, I literally told my wife that I had to have a talk with our college son, who is a nerd, about hoes. They go after guys like him. So now he says they go after guys like him, meaning the guy has potential to have a very nice future. Mm-hmm. 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 So he got to put him up on, listen, this is what, basically, these girls don't like you. They like what your potential is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Abigail, that's actually pretty legit.
I'm tripping because, and so that means that he has to have a relationship with his son to where his son will listen to him.
Oh wow!
Because if you got this fine girl, and there's nothing that brings separation like a fine girl in your family. Because the first time I told my son not to do something, and he started talking to me, I could hear somebody else in his ear telling him.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Especially if you nerdy and you've been sheltered and you hadn't been getting that attention that you all of a sudden getting now.
Pastor Gloria agrees with you. Said, "Amen, John." Rod said, "Derek, did you take the philosophy class back in Grambling?" I didn't. I wish I had now, but I didn't. I heard about it. Heard the class was very interesting, but nah. My coach in high school he put us on game. He was like, because we had guys in my class, you know, in high school that were having babies early. Rod said, I can't remember the professor's name, but he was infamous for being blunt. I can't remember his name either. I used to hear about him all the time though, but he was definitely infamous at the school. Abigail says, yep, you got to have that talk with the kids prior to college, because females or male will go after one that is harder to get. I'm happy I had this talk with my daughter because she don't put up with no mess.
Well, to Abigail's point, I think it's great that we can actually talk to our kids like that prior to college and they still listen to us. Because most of the time during high school years, they're in their room 99% of the time, and we don't actually get to see them, talk to them.
But it's a tide changing. You know, you used to always get warned about guys. You hear girls always get warned about guys. You had, like you said, Steve Harvey wrote a whole book about how to vet dudes and all this.
Anybody said nothing?
Nobody said nothing. As soon as Dion brings somebody in, a young lady in, to tell them about the dangers of Instagram models, and the whole nine, people have a problem with it.
You know the problem that I had with it is she wasn't honest. She didn't say, "Fools, I'm just trying to get your money. I'm just trying to get from you what I can. I'm trying to give you a baby so I can get your money."
Now she kind of said this.
Because she did kind of say it, but we stupid.
You gotta tell us plain.
Say it to us plain, like, hey, you can look at this if you want to, but this is gonna cost you way more than you're willing to pay.
Rod says one of his famous quotes was, "A stupid woman will always give you stupid babies." I can't remember that professor's name. I used to hear about him all the time. Absolutely. So do we build relationships with our kids enough where they will heed the warnings?
Is that a loaded question?
It may be. What you think about it?
The answer is hell no. When a woman with the booty and the chest come in, do you understand the type of relationship you got to have with your kids to get through to them, to get past that?
Amen. And it's really always that one that they start defying you for. That one, you put out all the warnings. Listen, and it's that one will change your life.
Exactly. Look, again, you can talk to them and talk to them and talk to them, but ultimately, the decision is going to be theirs. What they do with all that information that they have. Whether or not they want to say, "Oh, Dad and them just tripping," they don't want us to do nothing. And see, I think that's important. Why you have to be real with your kids and tell them how much of a fool you were. Because if you act like you had it all right the whole time, they're not going to really listen to that. You got to tell them, "Hey, man, I've been there. I see her. I see what you're holding. I see her. And I know what you're going through." But if you can't talk to them about your flaws and your imperfections, then it's going to be difficult to talk to kids. Listen to me. I'm not just telling y'all nothing I heard. I got 2 in there right now that I want to run over with my car.
So, because we're talking about protecting young men. We talk about protecting young men. Are young men a little bit more hard-headed? Are women just as hard-headed as young women hard-headed?
Well, okay. Now, see, that's a really good question, because naturally we think young men are trying to find themselves, so it's more difficult. But no. Now that I think about my daughter, she was just as hard-headed, if not more so, than my sons were. But because she falls up under the title of my daughter, I don't think about it as much as I do when I'm thinking about my boys.
Wow. So we do make that difference. Abigail said, "John, yes, true. I showed Jaden everything I did, like having her when I was 21.
Every stupid thing she did."
So what if your kid look at you like, "Well, you turned all right." So,
but that's that is a really good point, because they will do that. They will look at you and say, "Oh," and see, my kids' problem is they look at me at my age now and see all that we got and all we've accomplished. I'm like, dude, but you do not understand the backstory of how long we had to struggle and suffer because of the decisions that we made.
Mika says, yep, I think we are equally hard-headed, just in different areas. But I think boys' hard-headedness is more, it seems to be more of a cultural idea. It's like we always are looked at as if we slow, we don't think things through.
True, but most boys are more hard-headed behind girls.
So it's the girls that's
Oh, bro.
have,
As soon as we smell it, as soon as we smell anything coming from that woman, you can't hardly tell, bro. And that's, dude, and you know it's funny because that's why it's so important that we develop and have relationships, quality relationships with our kids, because it's gonna be tested. Their hormones talking to them and they body talking to them, and that's got to talk loud. You got to talk louder than that. For example, when that girl walked in there, what was them boys doing? I know Dion been talking to him 24/7. I know he had. I know he had. But you could hear nothing. All you heard was him hollering over that red bone, walked up in there with that hair down her shoulders and them tight shorts on and them big red legs. That's all they knew. That's all they see.
They started hollering and hooping when she came in, when she walked in. Even to the point, one of the guys took out a notebook and Dion pointed it out. He says he ain't took notes all year. And now you want to take notes.
Hey, man.
So are we more explicit with our expectations with daughters or sons?
Sons. Because we don't want nobody touching the daughter. We trying to hide the daughter. I don't want nobody coming through until they're ready to marry her. But our sons, we telling him to jimmy up, and we don't want no babies coming home.
So we a little bit more loose with the instructions with the son.
Absolutely. Because now we want the boys, for lack of a better word, we want them out there as soon as we can, just to make sure they're good. They're coming back good.
Oh, wow. Oh, Rod said as a boy, I was invincible. He said both. Rod said both. He's looking at both of them. Abigail says the kids saw the struggle.
But see, to Abigail's point, they can see the struggle, but for some reason, they could be in the struggle and will ignore that thing and will put that to the side like, oh, it was just a part of my upbringing, and will go on and do what you've been praying that they don't do. Like, but did you not see it? You was right there. Yeah, but again, to your point, D, you did all right.
Yeah, especially if they weren't privy to the struggle, they didn't see that. And I tell people, you gotta show your scars. You bear scars for the battles that you had to fight. But if you hide your scars, when you tell your stories, nobody will believe it. Whenever somebody has a scar, they got one of them real serious scars. Every time they point to it, they show you they got a story behind it. And you got to be able to tell the story behind that scar, because the scar is the evidence. You need the evidence of what you went through. You need the evidence to show them that I'm not just talking. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I've experienced, what I've been through. I'm talking to you from a real place.
But the reason why we don't do that, because we normally show our scars to the wrong people. When I talk about our scars to the wrong people, I'm talking about with your family, with your kids. That's where your scars need to be revealed. Because it's funny, because I've never shared my $18 story with my kids. It's funny, but it's true.
You never told me.
I tell everybody else that story. I've never shared that with my kids.
That's an important story to tell. Mm-hmm. And see, that's the difference in wounds and scars. Wounds still have pain attached. If you're telling that story, there's no pain attached. You can tell that story freely. That's a scar. Yeah. A scar, you poke it, it's not, that pain is not there. But a wound, you try to guard people from touching it. You got something that on you that's hurting, you constantly trying to block people from that. And that's what we do we don't try to let people in to really see what's really going on.
But if you really heal from something, though, D, if you really heal from it, you can now. It should be used for what it was there for anyway, as an example to other people of, hey, listen, this is what I went through. This is what you don't have to go through.
So let me ask you, is shame a sign of an open wound?
You know, that's a good question. We should have talked about this in the pre-meet. Well, because, hey, man, that's a really good, listen, you got to be willing to get past being shameful, because you could be over something and not want people to know what you have been through. It's two completely different things, because you're going to look at me in another light. If you realize, if I tell you what I've been through and how I didn't come out on it smelling like a rose, because most of the time we want to win in our stories. That's why I love telling the story about when I went to the school and I told this girl, you was gonna be my girlfriend, and she looked at me and was like, boy, bye. Dude, because we don't win. We don't always win in our stories. But most people not willing to lose in front of you. They want you to see them as a winner. But the only way you can become a true winner is you got to take some L's. You got to take some L's.
Yeah. As Gloria says, a hard-headed woman doesn't present any false pretenses. She is herself and doesn't need all your answers. She has her own. She's a hard-headed woman. Mika said, that's right, John. Because I'm all right. So Abigail says, see what happens nowadays. Kids are given whatever it is they want. Versus my kid, she had to work for what she wanted. I didn't hand everything to her. She had to prove it. So she values everything she has now, and she can work even harder to get more. Parents nowadays fail to teach kids that. No, she's absolutely right. She's absolutely right.
But most of the time, we couldn't afford to get them everything they wanted anyway. We ain't had no money. When I was in my 20s, when me and my wife got married, we ain't had nothing. All we had was each other. We gave love for Christmas, y'all. Do you hear me? We gave love for Christmas.
So, quick question though. So for the parent that gives their child everything instead of, like Abigail says, making them earn it, is that more of an issue with the child or with the parent?
With the parent. It's an issue early with the parent. It's going to be an issue later with the child.
So is it about the kid or is it about the parent hiding their insecurity or trying to look good to other people?
It's about the parents, man. You know, it's fun thing about parents. We want to be able to brag about our kids. We want to be able to. We want people to see them and see them dressed nice. We want them to have all the new J's. We want our kids for people to look at our kids and say, "Man, I wish my kids could be like your kids." That's what parents want. And to our fault, we caught up now because we can't get them to do what we tell them to do. They talking back. They cussing in their rooms. We can't tell them nothing. And we're like, wait a minute, but I gave you everything you wanted. Why don't you trust? Why don't you respect me?
Wow. Abigail says parents, I think, give kids what they want for lost time. And I think she means parents give the kids what they couldn't have. And so they're trying to make up for what they couldn't have. So they give the kids.
Not only that, but if you came up in a single family home and you got bread now, you're giving them everything because you're trying to compensate for that other parent not being there.
Okay, so if kids hit a point where they don't talk to you, is it time to bring back the village, especially when they don't listen to you?
Man, it just depends on what age, D, because you can get to them too. Look, bruh, by the time they get up and they big as you might have waited too late. And I don't know what's in the cornbread, but boy, my most kids like mine, they done sprouted up out of nowhere. And I just think I just think whatever you don't do when they're young, you're not gonna be able to do when they get older.
Cheryl says kids are a reflection of the parents. So the parents want them to have what they didn't have. And I think to that point, is that more about the parent or more about the kid? Abigail says, like my mom gave me and my sister whatever we wanted because she was never there. Oh, she was never there for us. Oh, okay. She mean like there's a guilt issue there. So we end up not respecting her at the time.
Because you put stuff in the place of me. I never forget I was going to drive Lyft or Uber. And my son had got used to us having family night on Friday night. And I was doing this because I was needing to make some extra money. And I had made that extra money. And so I now was just doing it for the money. And he looked at me and he said, "Hey, Dad, you driving tonight?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "But I want us to have family night." Because we try to put money and stuff in that place that we need to be in. Because all they really want at the end of the day is us.
Ron say level 3 poor parents will do everything for their kids not to have those same issues of not having.
That's good. That's good.
Pastor Gloria says, but if you are an insecure parent, you will raise insecure children. You pass that insecurity on.
Really? That's good. You know what? That's really good. I never thought about it that way. I never thought about
who's willing to admit the insecurity though?
Boy,
that's the question.
That's the question. You're right.
Because we spirit filled and we sanctified filled with the Holy Ghost now, and you can't tell us nothing.
Okay.
It's all under the blood.
But would it be honest to say that we all as parents are insecure a little bit? We got some insecurity in us.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
That sounds like most of us. It sounds like most of us.
That's that being willing to admit that that's probably the huge step. I'll never forget, real quick, Stephen Covey, 7 Habits. He said he had 2 sons who were doing well. They did well in school, sports, and everything. He had this one son who was struggling. And he said they kept trying to help him, but in helping him, they kept rescuing him from his issues. He said him and his wife sat back and realized that they were trying to get social miles out of their kids. They were trying to look good in society based on the accomplishment of their kids. And they realized that they were hurting him in the process. And when they pulled back and stopped trying to rescue him, he developed and he became even stronger. So thought I said final thoughts. We at the end.
All right. My final thought for the evening is, again, like I often say, all y'all crazy and none of y'all had no sense. We all insecure. We all are flawed people, and because we're all flawed, we have to be willing to admit it. If you can admit some of the issues and stuff that you're having, it'll make it easier for your kids. Now, the issue today was we talking about boys. What do we do for boys? The biggest thing you can do for boys is show them your scars. The biggest thing we do for your kids is show them your scars because they need to see those so they won't get none. And if they do get some, y'all get to compare scars together. I was a fool and you was too. Girl, look at us. You must be my son and my daughter. That's my final thought. Yeah.
One thing when I listened to Brittany Renner, she said something that was pretty profound. She said there's a cost to everything. And I don't think everybody takes that into consideration, especially when you're young. You don't take that into consideration. And some things will cost you so much that you can spend the rest of your life paying for it. When we show people our scars, we're trying to help them not make the same mistakes we made. But that means, have we really learned the lesson from the mistakes that we made? Or are we just trying to cover up and look like we got it together? There's something to be said about true healing. Something to be said about really learning the lesson and truly learning the lesson. When you can talk about it freely, when you can talk about it without the embarrassment, without the shame, and speak about it to really help somebody, then you've healed. And I think it's time for most of us to heal so that we can actually really help somebody else, especially the future generation, because they need to understand what this thing really is. And we have the answers. But are you willing to share? That's our King Speaks for this week. Gotta help somebody, man.
Probably went quick, man. It went quick.
Yeah.
I looked up. It was time to final thoughts. I was like, wait a minute. I ain't got them other points.
Yeah.
It was good, man. It was good. It was good.
It seemed like the issue with parents really came out more than anything. We try to put
because
kids.
Well, and the reason why was because when Dion brought the girl in, the parents were the one fussing about it. The parents were the ones that's trying to hide what they used to be. Because man, I say this all the time. Becky came from somewhere. Becky is mad about something. Becky either mad because she ain't got no attention no more, or she mad because she done put on the extra 40 pounds. But Becky mad about something. Karen is mad about something. Yeah.
You're right. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. If you like what we're doing, let somebody know about it. Don't forget our podcast available wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, whole lot of different places. Check us out. Catch us also on BS3 TV on Roku. That's BS3 Space TV on Roku. Put the space in there so you can find it. You can check past episodes. You can catch us live Monday nights, 7 o'clock. Listen, we appreciate the love. Appreciate everybody that drops by to chat with us and talk to us. Appreciate all of our Roku watchers as well. Thank you for checking us out on Roku as well. Another one in the books.
Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, you can find me on Facebook at Comedian John Yogi. Y'all come check me out. We got new stuff we putting up all the time. We got a great new year coming up. D, tell us about where can they find you, D?
Overcomers Empowerment Ministries, the ministry I have. You can find me on Facebook, Overcomers Empowerment Ministries, and we are also on Roku as well. We broadcast Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. on Roku, so you can catch us Sunday morning if you're not going to church that day, 10 o'clock. Tune in, get a good word.
You need that word.
Good word.
Well, so the Bible says back in Zechariah 47:3, turn it. Y'all got okay. All right. So well, this has been what happened. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened either, man. But I guess that's the signal for us to go.
That's the back signal. Time for us to go.
Right. Thank y'all. We appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all next week. Y'all be good.
Y'all be good.